No DQ Galaxy, we are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw for Monday, April 10th, 2023. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. I appreciate the early birds as always. Gomer Kyle, Ryan, CC Drink, Matthew, Walter Cruz. If you want a special shout out, make sure you're an early bird and in the chat room early. Now, let's get to Raw. We kicked off the show with Rey Mysterio coming down to the ring for a promo. Now, I should know how several WWE stars were dealing with travel issues. Almost half of the roster apparently was having trouble getting into Seattle, Washington for Monday Night Raw. But WWE made the most of the situation. Rey Mysterio was out there. He talked about his ups and downs from over the past year. He wanted things to be different with his son Dominic. And of course, Dominic interrupted because, well, that's what he does. And he said that he has been better off with his real family, Judgment Day. Dominic getting tons of heat, crowd chanting, "You suck." Rey said that Judgment Day is using him, but Dominic turned it around and said that Rey is the selfish one. And Dominic said he would have beaten Rey if it wasn't for Bad Bunny. Dominic showed the WrestleMania footage. Rey said that he spoke to Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny will be back. And then Rey challenged Dominic to a match at WrestleMania Backlash or Backlash, whatever you want to call it. Basically a rematch. Dominic said that he does not want to fight his own father, but he knows somebody who will. And that's when he brought out Finn Balor. And that led up to our first match of the evening, Balor versus Rey Mysterio. I like how Dominic turned this whole thing around. Before, Rey did not want to fight Dominic. Now Rey is fine with fighting Dominic, and it's Dominic who is out there saying, "I don't want to fight my father. I was pulling my punches at WrestleMania." Dominic's doing great. As I mentioned on the SmackDown recap, very entertaining here. And this was a good opening match. Balor was in control for the early part. Rey started to build up momentum after the commercial break. He hit a springboard crossbody and then went for the 619, but Balor countered it with a clothesline. Balor went up top. Rey caught him with a Hurricane Rana. Finally was able to hit the 619 and then went for the big splash, but Balor got his knees up. Dominic then tried to use a steel chair. Rey punched Dominic, knocked him off the apron, and then Rey hit a dive to the outside onto both Balor and Dominic. Rey threw Balor back into the ring, but then Balor distracted the referee. Dominic did hit Rey with the chain, and not a steel chair. A steel chain is what I meant from earlier. A chain, the same chain he tried to use at WrestleMania. He hit Rey with the chain, and then Balor, coup de grace, finished off Rey to pick up the win. And as Matthew in the chat pointed out, this match had almost more in-ring time than all of the matches combined from next week's show. All right, we have a $5 super chat from Endeavor Representative. Says, "I will be here each and every week on No DQ until the sale goes through or the more likely falls through to give my approval / dissatisfaction of WWE." There you have it, folks. An Endeavor representative will be here every week to critique the shows. Thank you for the super chat, Endeavor representative. Now, we had footage shown of Chad Gable and Otis. They were interviewed. Maxine Dupree was there. But then we cut away and we found out that somebody attacked Lita. Raquel and Liv were standing right there. Becky and Trish Stratus then came in, and it appeared that they were very sus about what was going on here. Now, of course, the hot rumor that Trish would be turning against Becky Lynch. You're definitely wondering what is up here. Something is going on. We had a Cody Rhodes video package from last week's episode of Monday Night Raw, the attack from Brock Lesnar. We then went back to Becky Lynch, who said that Lita was taken to a, quote, local medical facility, and Trish Stratus was stepping in as Lita's new partner for the tag team title match. Now, Raquel and Liv, they won the right to get the tag team title match, and this was a case of the free bird rule, where Trish Stratus was filling in for Lita to defend the tag team titles. And we went right to the tag team match. Local medical facility. A lot of people wondering if that's another clue that Vince McMahon is in charge again. But he was not backstage at Raw, according to reports. But of course, he could have been remotely making tweaks to the script, and he sees hospital, and he's like, no, cannot do that. It's a local medical facility, pal. Anyways, tag team title match. Becky started off the match. She was in a bit of trouble. Trish tagged in, and she built up some momentum for her team. And it was a little sloppy. The announcers were acting like they're not used to teaming up together, but it was a nice cover. Raquel got a hot tag after the commercial break, and she manhandled the man for a while, but Becky fought back. Trish and Becky, I should say, were double teaming Raquel. Liv Morgan tagged back in, tried to pin Becky several times. Becky and Trish went for a double suplex, but Raquel came in, power bombed them. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." You know, they did the Tower of Doom spot, so that always gets a big pop from the fans. And Becky applied the disarm her on Liv Morgan. Raquel broke it up. Trish then came in with a bulldog to Raquel. Becky hit the manhandle slam, but Raquel managed to pull out Becky, and then Trish tagged back in, went for the chick kick to Liv, but Liv ducked. Liv then rolled up Trish Stratus, and 1, 2, 3, got the win. Your new WWE Tag Team Champions. I'm a little surprised. I was not expecting a title change here. I thought that Ronda and Shayna Baszler would be the next champs, but we may still get that title run relatively soon. After the match was over, Trish Stratus very distraught, but Becky was dealing with it. She hugged Trish and then started to walk away, and then swerve, so to speak. Trish Stratus attacked Becky. It was a little sloppy in execution, but we got the heel turn that we were all expecting, especially if you've been reading things on the internet. That was a hot rumor, and it did play out here on Raw. Trish Stratus took down Becky Lynch and stood over her. So yeah, we get the heel turn, and I suspect we will see Trish versus Becky Lynch. Will they save it for SummerSlam, or will it happen sooner? That remains to be seen. Now, backstage, Trish Stratus was asked by Byron Saxton about what happened, and Trish had no answer. Hopefully, they have a good answer, and it's not one of those lame routines where she goes out there and says, I don't owe you people an explanation. I'm just hoping that's not the case here. I hope she actually does have an explanation. We had Paul Heyman interviewed backstage and brought up how Sami Zayn and Matt Riddle were dealing with the flight delays and were not there for the show. Endeavor representative sent in a $2 super chat and said, Endeavor will call it a hospital once we take over. All right, there you go. Hey, folks, Endeavor representative is here in the chat room. So if you have a complaint, make sure you send it over to Endeavor representative, and they will take note of it. I don't know if they'll do anything, but you can leave your feedback to Endeavor representative right here in the chat room. All right. We had Paul Heyman interviewed, brought up the flight delays, said they're going to take care of the KO problem. We had Bayley coming out of Adam Pearce's locker room, I guess, or office, whatever you want to call it. And Damage Control, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai were there. Bayley said she got added to a triple threat match to determine Bianca Belair's next opponent for the Raw Women's Championship, but Dakota and Io were upset. They want an opportunity, and Bayley said she would talk to Adam Pearce and see if one of them could replace her. We had Bronson Reed versus Bobby Lashley, and as Big E would say, meaty men slapping meat. Entertaining match here with these guys. Hard hitting. Bobby Lashley trying to pick up Bronson Reed. Could not do it at first. Eventually, he was able to suplex Bronson. And lots of big power moves here with these guys. Lashley was struggling to get the hurt lock on because Bronson Reed is just so wide. Reed came off the top and basically just smashed his body right into Bobby Lashley. Like a body smasher. I'm not even sure what you would call it. Almost like a Lou Thez press type of move. And Lashley was able to recover. Lashley hit a spine buster, tried to apply the hurt lock again. Both of them ended up on the outside of the ring. Lashley and Bronson Reed fought on the outside, and we got a double count out. So kind of a disappointing finish, but Bronson Reed being protected here. The fight continued. Officials ran down. It was one of your pull-apart brawls. Bobby Lashley broke through the officials, of course, and they kept fighting. But you know what? The crowd was loving this, and they popped when the fight continued, which is a good thing. You know, we've been talking about like some of the recent call-ups, how they've been struggling to get crowd reactions. Well, the people liked this. They were into it, and they were into the post-match brawl. They wanted more. So if we get this rematch at Backlash, like this is something people want to see. In this case, it worked, the double count out. You know, you don't want to do it too often, but in this case, I think it was effective in making people want more out of Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed. Endeavor representative sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Said, make no mistake about it, we ain't here to play. All right. Well, thank you for that, Scott Hall. Endeavor representative. We had a Cody Rhodes promo. By the way, that was Kevin Nash, not Scott Hall, that said, we ain't here to play. Look at the adjective. We had Cody Rhodes come into the ring for a promo. He apologized for his WrestleMania loss, and he talked about how Paul Heyman said that Cody would have to earn another match And Cody said, earn it? He is it. And he turned his attention to Brock Lesnar. He brought up how Lesnar was apparently unhappy about his spot at WrestleMania. Cody talked about how Lesnar is a predator, sees everyone as a victim, and Cody did admit he is scared of Brock Lesnar. Anyone would be. But he still wants a fight anywhere, anytime, any place. And he officially issued the challenge for, as he put it, WrestleMania Backlash. But throughout the show, they were calling it Backlash. So I'm thinking Cody was just on autopilot. And last year it was WrestleMania Backlash, and he just had a brain fart. Hopefully that's the case, because I think WrestleMania Backlash as a name is completely ridiculous. But great promo here from Cody. Really enjoyed it. Seth Rollins sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, greetings, Aaron. Not the most memorable Raw tonight, but hopefully the draft can make up for it. They did bring up the draft briefly on the show, but they did not say anything yet about a date or anything else to really hype it up. But I'm sure they'll do that. I'm thinking it is coming up after Backlash, so they got about 3 weeks, and you want to focus on building up Backlash for the time being. But I suspect in a week or two they'll start selling the draft and making a bigger deal out of it. We had the Usos versus the Alpha Academy, another good match here on Raw. Otis was dominating for a while, using his power. Gable came in and using his agility, top rope clothesline to Jimmy. Usos did regroup, and they hit a double super kick to knock Otis off the apron. They worked over Gable for a while, but then Otis got a hot tag, power slammed both of them, did the caterpillar, busted that out again. Gable then came off the top with the top rope bulldog. Jay broke up the pin. Double super kick to Otis on the outside, sending Otis over the announce table. So Gable was all by himself. He continued to bring the fight to the Usos, though. He came off the top with a top rope moonsault, got Jimmy back in the ring, went up top, hit the top rope headbutt, but Jimmy kicked out, and then Jay got back in. Usos double super kicked Gable, and then they finished him off with the 1D, got the 1-2-3 victory for the Usos to get a win after their loss at WrestleMania. So good match here. I enjoyed it, and they didn't have any maximum male models out there or anything like that. So yeah, just a straight up match. Usos won. No issues with this. We had Io Sky versus Piper Niven versus Michin, a.k.a. Mia Yim. And this was a pretty solid match, too. Crowd was into it more than I thought they would be, considering this was well into the third hour at this point. But they did enjoy the match, and the match was good. Everybody got a chance to shine in this one. But ultimately, it was Io Sky that picked up the victory. Michin attempted to pin Piper, but Io came off the top with a moonsault and then pinned Michin to win. The only negative about this is I still remember, well, there were two negatives. One negative was that WWE already advertised Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. It was on their website. They made a graphic for it. So when they announced this match, it's kind of obvious Io's winning. And they just decided to delay Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. That was the first issue. The second issue was that I still remember Extreme Rules when Bianca Belair beat up all three Damage Control members by herself. How am I supposed to believe Io Sky has a snowball's chance in hell against Bianca when Bianca could beat up all three of them on her own without any help. Just saying. I would have actually liked to have seen Michin pick up a win here. She really could have benefited from a win, but I think they're teasing a heel turn for her. Corey Graves on commentary saying that she hasn't really lived up to the hype, and she's trying to focus on getting the fan support. Feels like a heel turn might be coming. Endeavor representative sent in a $2 super chat, says Rollins will go right back to Monday Night Messiah. I hope not, but please don't do that, Endeavor representative. We like Seth Rollins as he is now. Please do not do that. I beg of you. We had Kevin Owens backstage, and he was saying that, yeah, maybe he should not compete because Riddle and Sami Zayn were running late with their flight. But he said he's looking for revenge, and as his motto says, just keep fighting. So that's what he did. We had our main event, KO versus Solo Sikoa. Good main event here. These guys work well together, and I know that we're seeing them interact a lot, but these guys definitely have the chemistry in the ring. And KO was selling his knee throughout the match. He would start to build up some momentum, but then his knee would give out on him. Crowd was firmly behind KO, chanting, "Let's go KO." They traded blows back and forth. Owens was able to come off the top with a frog splash, but he was holding his knee as he made the cover and really could not make a proper cover. Solo kicked out. Jimmy and Jay were out there, and they started interfering, and that was just making things more difficult for KO. He super kicked Jay, went up top, hit the Swanton Bomb, but Solo kicked out. KO finally was able to build up enough momentum to go for the stunner, but then Usos got involved again. You had Jey Uso hitting KO with a super kick while Jimmy distracted the referee, and it was all elementary here for Solo. Samoan Spike got the 1-2-3 victory. The attack continued after the match was over, and finally, with like a minute to spare, they barely made it to the arena. Just as Raw was about to go off the air, Sami Zayn and Matt Riddle, literally running from the parking lot, ran down into the ring, and they cleaned house. Sami went for the haluva kick on Jay, but Solo pulled Jay to safety. Good ending here, and they managed to get Riddle and Sami on at the very end. No Seth Rollins on this show, no Miz, no Bianca, no Street Profits. Quite a few people not on the show, but apparently a lot of them were having travel issues, so that's why they were not there. But all in all, I think Raw was pretty solid. Better than last week's Raw, so I'm giving it a B. I think it was a good Raw. Obviously, there were some people missing. They had to make some changes to the show, but all in all, good wrestling on the show, and they set up some matches for Backlash. Brock Lesnar will be on Raw next week to seemingly answer the challenge for the Cody Rhodes match. Endeavor representative sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, we have already hired Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara. Well, I'm sure Virtue will appreciate that. I'm not sure anybody else will, but we'll see. Maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe Vince Russo will pull a new rabbit out of the hat and he'll have a new trick for us. I'll remain cautiously optimistic, Endeavor representative. And Building Nexus sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, should Roman Reigns defend the title on the final show before he hits 1,000 days? Yes, and I think it would be foolish to not have him defend the title. They really got to play this up that Roman is at a maximum level of pressure to reach 1,000 days. There has got to be a threat to the 1,000 days. If Roman just coasts along and gets to 1,000 without any more title defenses, I think that's a huge missed opportunity, and I would be very disappointed. Yes, that SmackDown before Saudi Arabia, he absolutely needs to defend that title before he reaches 1,000 officially. Endeavor representative sent in a $2 super chat, says, no travel issues. I personally fired them all. Well, I hate to hear that. That's a real shame. Endeavor representative, you gotta see the light here. Reconsider your decision. People love Seth freaking Rollins. They love the Street Profits. They love Bianca Belair. You can't fire them. So you got to really think about this. I'm pleading with you. By next week's show, they got to be back. Please rehire them, Endeavor representative. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for Raw tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a like on YouTube. Spread the word. Tell a friend about No DQ and the YouTube channel. I will see you later this week for the Dynamite recap and SmackDown. That's to come later this week. Enjoy your week, everybody. And don't forget about Renfield, the movie with Nicolas Cage as Dracula, because they only plugged it like 30 times throughout the evening. Endeavor representative sent one more $5 super chat. Says, this is my first day. Cut me some slack. They'll be back next week. All right. Thank goodness. Thank goodness that you have reconsidered. And we'll see those great WWE superstars back on the show next week. Thank you, Endeavor representative. I'm sure we'll see more of you to come. Take care, everybody. Enjoy your week. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.